Starting on your hands and knees in a bear pose, so your knees are just hovering off the floor. You're going to take your time pushing the floor away. You're going to just sit back a tiny bit and then thread one leg through, bridging up nice and high with a slight back bend, and then returning to that bear pose. Taking your time and switching sides, shifting back, threading through and bridging up, making sure to push that floor away the whole time. If it's easier here, you can also sink the hips all the way down, so actually take a seat on the floor before you bridge up, and then make sure to nail that bear position every time. So you don't want to rush the transition. You're going to hold the middle bear just for a few seconds before switching to the other side. We've got one more here, so really pushing the floor away, lifting those hips up nice and high, sinking the hips down to return to bear, and then the knees will come down to the floor for your cat-cow position. So arching the spine up toward the ceiling and then arching it down toward the floor. Really making sure to push the floor away, get nice fluidity throughout that spine. Just a couple more here, and then we're going to go into a hip extension. So now you're going to lift your knee up like a hydrant, extend the leg, and then bring it down, and then switching sides. Lifting that knee up laterally like you're at a hydrant, and then extending the leg, keeping it nice and straight just for a split second, then bringing it down and switching. You want to be careful not to sway too much here. Really get that control coming from the hips. So lifting up, extending, bringing it down, nailing that center position, making sure your arms are staying strong. Continue to push that floor away. Last one here, big extension, bringing it back down, and we'll go back into that cat-cow, getting some nice movement through your spine. Taking nice deep breaths, checking in with your form, keeping everything nice and solid. Big push, big extension. From here, you're going to sit back into child's pose. Take your time here as long as you need, really reaching those arms forward. And then we're going to start hinging. So you're going to lift the hips, and then you're going to thread one arm through and really sink down, get a nice stretch through that shoulder. Going back into child's pose, then coming up and switching sides. Taking your time, getting as much from each movement as you possibly can. Child's pose with a big reach in the arms, and then stacking over your hands as you thread through for the shoulders. Make sure to keep breathing, taking your time and alternating sides. This is your last one here. So now you're going to sit back into child's pose and then come up so you're still in a kneeling position, but you're sitting back on your feet. And curl the toes under so you have some additional support. And we're going to go into a tall kneeling back bend. So from here, you're going to lift the hips up as you reach back for your foot with one hand and then up and over with the other hand. Big arch through the spine, pushing those hips forward, really focusing on your breathing. You're going to alternate sides. So you're going to reach, swinging that top arm down to the foot, and then reaching on that other side. So sitting back every time and then pushing up nice and tall every time. Getting as much of a back bend as you can. Just switching this position a little bit. Pushing those hips forward. It helps to squeeze the glutes as you're pushing those hips forward. And then opening up that rib cage. Big extension. Now you can relax into child's pose, so sitting back, relaxing your feet, reaching up with your hands, taking some deep breaths here. Spend as much time as you need here, and then we're going to kick it up into a down dog. Just pedal the feet, pushing that floor away with the arms, super active through the shoulder. And now we're going to go into a fluid back, so hinging forward into your cobra, and then sitting back into child's pose, big reach. From here, you're going to kick the hips up into down dog, shifting forward into that tall plank, and then lowering down and raising your cobra, and then sitting back into child's pose. And we'll go through this rotation a few times. The fluid back, so from child's pose to down dog to cobra. Taking your time, making sure to breathe, check in with your core, pulling your navel into your spine, pushing that floor away the whole time, keeping the body nice and active, really challenging the stretch through the back of the legs, lifting that chest up nice and high in the cobra, but making sure to keep the quads active, so you don't want to dump into your low back. You want to keep the whole body active as you stretch through your front body. Hips up for your down dog, shifting forward and then raising up into your strong, solid cobra and back into child's pose. Take your time here in child's pose, sinking down nice and low, reaching up with those arms. And when you're ready for full relaxation, send your arms back so they're resting along your legs, resting your head on your forehead, and just taking nice deep breaths, trying to relax your body here.